that God or whatever you believe in got you, and that what's for you is for you, and it's always going to come.
2020, YouTube launched Shorts, and there's such a great way for you to mobile first.
Birth it, and that's your nurturing as well. A proud product of an HBCU.
Yes.
I have a
Keys Son, editor.
Am I a fashion order?
Absolutely. This is iconic. This is legendary.
Be fearless, honey.
Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking all things 2022 New York Culturecon. Before we get started, if you want the details on how I got this look, go ahead and check out this video linked above, and let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm just going to review kind of my overall thoughts on Culturecon, and then towards the end I'm going to be sharing some really cool things that I've learned, like my takeaways and things that I'm going to be applying into my everyday kind of routine in achieving and pursuing my dreams and goals. So you'll see some footage from the event and some really cool pictures like you got a sneak peek of seeing already. So let's go ahead and chat. So what is Culturecon? But essentially it's a week-long event. It's for creatives, by creatives essentially, and it's a huge conference, if you will. And the day of, they have one main event where it was October 8th, one main event date, and you get to kind of hear different panelists, different industry experts come together and talk and just drop a bunch of gems. And honestly, you can come away with some pretty amazing opportunities if you do it right. So I'll also be touching on some tips and tricks on what to expect and what you should do for next year's Culture Conference. As you guys can see, you come in, it was a long line. It was a very long line, but I will say this event was very, very organized in my opinion. It was very seamless. You get in the line, you follow, and then you're essentially in the event once you get through security. They had a station. The first station was where you picked up your bags, and I thought it was really great that they had these bags available because they had a size limit on what size bag you can bring into the event. So you could drop your smaller bag in the tote bag, and the tote bag had some really cool items. They had an activations area, and then they had a creator stage, and then the culture stage, which was the larger one that majority of the people stayed in during the event. And then for food, they had various food trucks. And let me just tell y'all, the food was hitting. It was so good, but the lines was long. So I definitely recommend, if you can, bring somebody. It helps for seating, it helps for restrooms, and it helps for just standing in line. Like it really comes in clutch. The really great thing about Culturecon is I think they really provide you with an opportunity to hang out in more than one event. And so even if you didn't get the VIP ticket, they sent you an email the week of for you to first come first serve RSVP for any additional events. And so you received it. I think I received the email on like a Wednesday or a Thursday, and then if I was going to be in the city, or maybe I received it on a Tuesday, and if I was going to be in the city earlier, then I would be able to attend. I think it was an event happening on the 5th and the 4th, but I wasn't, so I wasn't able to attend those events. If you were smart, you would have downloaded the Culturecon app before you even came to New York, or a few days before the event. They continuously uploaded new speakers, new panelists, new titles of the panels and topics that they were going to be discussing. And so that is the best way for you to plan and strategize. Keyword strategize. And I say that because the creator stage was outside, and then the culture stage was on the inside. And so planning out, and they were having these panels at simultaneously at the same time. And so and there were times where I couldn't go to panels that I wanted to go to because they were being held at the same time. So you really just kind of have to determine a top 5 or a top 6 that you really want to go to, and then make sure that you get there. So I was blessed enough to, I went into the culture stage at some point, and this girl was sitting down, and I was like, oh, are you gonna be staying here for a second? She was like, yeah, I'm not moving. I said, perfect. I need to go to the creator stage, you mind watching our stuff? She was like, yeah, my friend went in line and was standing in line to go get food. Like, honestly, bless her heart. So she stayed and got food. I was able to go to the creator stage, and then simultaneously I would come back in and check on the seats, check if the girl needed to be relieved. And honestly, she stayed there the entire time, so we were pretty much set on seats. My friend got us food, we got Caribbean food, and it was so good. Like, I think I got a photo of it, and it was so the mac and cheese, it was actually very spicy. It was good, but very spicy, so I couldn't even get into it all the way because of how spicy it was. But figuring out some sort of buddy system and working with the people who are already there are going to be your best bets. And they really had some amazing topics. And so again, I think the best strategy to come into Culturecon with is knowing what you want to get out of it. This is where you are now. Where are you trying to go? What tools do you need to get there? And once you've determined that based on what they're offering, that's going to be how you can strategize the top events that you want to go to and things like that. I recommend getting there early because, like I mentioned, the line is long. You can kind of walk around at first. They had Nike's Yard Runners there, and they were doing like a coffee shop pop-up, which was and it was free coffee. So they had like things that you can purchase, and then they had some like pretty cool like free activations available as well. And so that's going to be your best bet when it comes to making sure that you get the most out of your experience. So I think the ticket that I purchased was $200. We did like a buddy ticket. So my friend paid $200, I paid $200, whatever the taxes were, and that's how that worked out. When it comes to how you want to dress, people were dressing down. You had some people in heels, you had some people just in sneakers or boots. I would say, you know you best. For me, I was there until it was dark. So like 8 o'clock, or like I think we got there like 9ish, so we were in line or whatever. Probably got inside like around 10. I know I would have been so upset if I wore heels. So I think for, you know, depending on the person, and if you're a person who you're gonna hold the seat for your friend, yeah, most definitely wear your heels, girl, whatever. If your feet can take it, cool. But if you want to do like boots or a thicker like platform heel boot, I would recommend that. I wore my platform chucks. They did me well. Like, I was cool with that, and I had a good time. And I actually bought my outfit once I got to New York because like it just wasn't working in the city for me. But yeah, so, and then people were just, you know, personal style was like just the name of the game. And so just you saw so many dope, amazing like outfits and such. But yeah, wear whatever you want, wear whatever you're going to be comfortable in, because you know I know for me to be there 12 plus hours, heels was just not going to be it for me. And I had a jacket with me. Thankfully it was chilly that day, so I was waiting like 2 hours after the last event because I wanted to see Megan Good, in which I did. It was just such a cool place to be. I think being able to be surrounded by Black individuals, Black people, just taking up space unapologetically. Like, there was not one moment where you just like, I didn't shrink, and what I mean by that is like I didn't walk into a room and I don't want to say intimidated, but I didn't question myself. I didn't question my capabilities. I didn't question me showing up, me being welcome, me belonging. It was just really great to see other Black people feeling comfortable and just existing. The styles, like, it was so amazing. So if you're the type of person who I feel like is an extrovert or an introvert / extrovert, depending on occasion, and you don't mind walking up to people, I think this was a great event where people were open and people didn't mind strangers coming up to them, complimenting them, or just sparking regular conversation, which I thought was just so beautiful. The activations were amazing. So they had an opportunity where you can buy Black, and then they had Audible had a pop-up where you can talk to industry experts and get like career advice, which I did. I just spoke to somebody about navigating my career, where I was at, and just some tips on what I'm looking to get into next. And then just hearing about their journey, finding people who have similar journeys or a journey or are where you want to be, finding out where they started and how they get there is the best way to understand what you need to do. So that was just such a great opportunity. And then LinkedIn had a cool like photo op. I'll drop my photos here, which was really, really fun. Reebok, I want to say, they had a station, and who else? It was Reebok. They had like a VIP lounge in there. It was just like dope. It was really, really cool. Just so many people, again, like, and nobody's looking at you. Like, I feel like, you know, I don't like walking around looking lost. That was like a thought at first, but then it was like, nobody's looking at me. Like, it doesn't even matter. So that was really cool. So yeah, I said heels, dress, you know, however you want, but just know you're gonna be there for a while, and maybe standing in lines. Have cash, have your card. They gave out totes. They have vendors on site, so just kind of be prepared. And then I would say, you know, prepare to build relationships. I'm not going to say be prepared to network, but prepare to build relationships. I think asking people what do you do in today's age is not necessarily the best move. I think just get to know people. How are you? Like, what have you been up to? What do you enjoy doing? I met somebody who was going to Culturecon that morning at my hotel, and I just asked, like, I didn't even ask like what they do. I was just like, oh, are you attending Culturecon? I was like, okay, awesome. We exchanged social media, and then we were like, okay, we'll catch up later. Like, we were just like, where are you from? And then after we ended up linking up at the end of Culturecon, we ran into one another, and then we exchanged phone numbers. And then from there, I was able to say like, oh, you know, I think you mentioned you said you were in tech, but you know, what do you like to do in regards to being a creative? And then getting to know a person that way. I think, you know, we don't have to be so transactional, especially when we want long-term community. And I think we have to shift our perspective. So I think that's going to be key. So be prepared to build relationships, and then also be excited and be, I think, prepared. There's nothing wrong with being prepared for questions when you're going to be in rooms of your favorite creators, favorite content creators, favorite artists, singers, musicians, actors, actresses, producers, directors, company executives. You know, have some questions. Like, there was somebody from Stars, and I was in the the activation place, and then some girls were just like talking to the guy, and it was very casual, and I think that's what I love the most. It was not like a bunch of security. It's like, and I think everybody knew, like, just be respectful. Like, nobody's like bum rushing. It was just so dope. So I think be prepared to build relationships. Be prepared with some questions for the people that you know are going to be there. And then just be comfortable enough in yourself and who you are to just show up as you are. Nobody's asking you to be any different. Nobody's asking you to switch up because, you know, you think this is your one opportunity. You're there for a reason, and you know what you need. So it's just on you to make sure that you get that, but don't overthink it. Like, it's really that simple. But I want to get into, I have my phone because I'm definitely not memorizing, you know, everything. I'm definitely not memorizing everything. So let's just go ahead and get into some things that I learned. Whew, y'all, my mouth is dry. Hold on, I need some water. By the time we got there, it was like for the 10 o'clock creator stage session, and it was about like law, like lawyers, and your likeness. I'm just gonna read straight from there, and then I'll correct from there. So I think the biggest thing is, as a creative, making sure that what they pay you is going to cover the length of obligations and ownership, meaning how long the deal is, what needs to be fulfilled, and how you're getting paid. Who is going to be owning the work? So it's 30 seconds or less. What is the takeaway or resource that you can provide? So here are some that they provided. Embrace business. Look at your lawyer as your partner. Look at your lawyer as your partner, strategic and creative, and you guys are strategic and creative partners together. And then the Tinder 31, I didn't put the name of it because it was like you gotta type real fast, but whatever. Here's some tips. The question was advice for bold moves. One was make your prayer specific. Identify mentors that align with your goal. Make a list. Be willing to do things for free and watch how other people do it. Network. Talent and prep should keep you there. Comparison is a thief of joy, and you can't measure your success with someone else's ruler.
That God or whatever you believe in got you, and that what's for you is for you, and it's always going to come. And then also just being really deliberate about the people that you have around you, your team, your family, your friends. I feel as though the people that you have around you is a reflection of you. So you have to be very deliberate about the spaces that you put yourself in and the people that you surround yourself with. And just making sure that they're genuinely there for you, that they'll go hard for you in the thing.
That one, come on now, you gotta be deliberate with the people around you. That's for a whole nother video though. Be ready to pivot, have fun, stress less, and keep wilding.
And I think that it's also incredibly important to build your own table. I started my production company when I was 15 years old alongside my mom. And that journey hasn't been easy, but for me it's been incredibly important because this is something that I'm so passionate about. And I think us as artists, we really have to take that initiative regardless of whatever somebody's saying, whatever no's that we're hearing, however many times we feel as though we're discouraged. To really take the initiative and create your own spaces and your own table.
Next, we have be committed to the craft. Do you want company? Oh, and this one, I remember what this one was from. I think this one was from Elaine Wilterall's conversation with Lena Waithe. I'm pretty sure. Be committed to the craft. Do you want company or do you want community? That one was really good. Somebody said, you are the expert of your own experience. It's about how we live, dream and define visible when thriving. So for that last part, essentially somebody was just saying like, as Black people, we deserve to be seen not only when we're in pain, but when we're dreaming, when we're defining ourselves, like when we're thriving, when we're living our best lives, like we deserve to be visible then, because the stories that they like to share. 2:30 slot, somebody said if you're not chewing on enough, ask for another plate. And take that how you will, because sometimes you got a full plate and you're not managing it properly, but I'm gonna leave that alone. And then we're gonna go to step back. Step back. How is this making a better place for people of color? So I can't remember what the question was because y'all, I'm making this a month later. Like, I was horrible. But essentially somebody asked, can you step back? Well, I don't know. I wrote this down. Step back and ask yourself, how is this making a better place for people of color when it comes to what you're creating, what you're building? How is this making a better place for people of color? Tabitha Brown said, dreamers do not let other dreamers dream alone. Wholeheartedly, if you're creative, again, community. And me and my friend Treasure, we've done an amazing job at this. Like, we have so many creative friends in their own right, and we recruit them for projects and things like that. So just making sure that, you have people who are rooting for you, who build you up, because it's such a up and down ride that you're going to need that. If what you're building only requires one person, it may be too small, y'all. I just said it, community. If what you're building takes one person, it's going to be too small. Like, the name of the game, it is not just for you. I tell this to my friends all the time. What we do, our dreams and our goals, like even Tyler Perry says this, other people's dreams, other people's goals are tied to what we do. You thinking that you want to do it by yourself, you thinking that you want to build it by yourself, it's just not ideal. You will not succeed like that. You are not God. I'm just saying. Compelling and strong why when you are building. So have a very strong and compelling why. Also, this is going to be what kind of motivates you again when you are kind of in a low moment, a lull. Like, that is going to be what reactivates you. If you build it, they will come. Do not worry about an audience. Do not worry about people unfollowing you. Do not worry about your friends and family and the fact that they are not hopping on what you are doing. A lot of times, they are not your target audience, your demographic, and they were just never meant to support you in this area. The Bible says a prophet is not welcome in their own hometown. Like, you can expect the people who you are surrounded with on a day-to-day to support you. And that is sad, but that is true. But just know, if you build it, they will come. If you do it, if you keep showing up, somebody will come. Right now, I have 132 subscribers. Whether I'm still here or I'm gone, somebody's gonna see this video. The audience is gonna come. Take the skills that you currently have and make it work for the next stage of your life. I just said this on TikTok. I said, stop thinking, just start anyway. That's I realized for me, that's a lack mentality. Proceed where you are. Take a culmination of all the things that you've experienced up until this point and take it into the next step. Take it to what you are pursuing and allow that to be a part of it. Everything that you've learned, every job that you have, every volunteer opportunity, everything that you've scrapped up together on your own, you take that and you apply it to the next thing. This was the session on pivoting your brand. Your brand will change as you change, so understand that. Again, you're gonna have people follow you, unfollow you. I be following and unfollowing people. It is what it is. People are not meant to stick with you forever. Friends, family, it just is what it is. So understand that. Do not allow your, maybe desire for a large following or for something to keep you boxed in from growth. As you change, so will everything around you. If your audience doesn't want you to grow, that's not your audience. Create the art that you want to get paid for. Essentially, somebody, Donnie said that, and she said that on multiple occasions. And essentially, when it comes to getting opportunity, you have to create what you want. Again, you have to make the opportunity that you want. Very, very crazy, but simple. Live in gratitude and put the work in. A lot of the things that, and it's so funny because I think, when I was there, a lot of the things that I was saying, I'm like, that they were saying, I'm like, I say this to other people. Like, I be telling other people this. I tell other people to practice gratitude. I tell other people to put the work in and be open to the outcome. Like, that's something that I've always said. And so what it showed me attending that too is that for me personally, and I'm sure for a lot of others, you already know what you have to do. You already know what you have to do. So do it. You already know. A lot of times we already know what we have to do. We are holding ourselves back. So do it. Step outside of what you're comfortable. Step outside of what is comfortable for you to see what else you can do. Never be above critique. I don't care how seasoned you are. I don't care what you thought you knew. Never be above critique, and don't take it personal. The take personal is not there, but like, we should know this. Like, we can't take it personal, and the delivery may not always be right, but you take it with that grain of salt and you get to work and you do what you have to do. So Danya mentioned this in terms of, do not view post on, oh, this post did good or this post did bad, but view it on, oh, this post really resonated with my audience. Oh, my audience wasn't necessarily as into this, or maybe I can do it this way to see if that re-engages them in this type of topic. So you really have to play around with it and see what lands, and then that's how you know. And I think the key to doing this too is just posting, getting it out there, doing it. And I know, like, I barely post on Instagram, but posting one time ain't gonna get it done. You gonna have to post 2-3 times a week or something, at least for a month, to get those results, to see what you gotta do. Anyway, really good one that somebody said was holding space for yourself. Hold space for yourself to experience highs, lows, emotions, gratitude, like everything. Hold space for yourself to change, to grow, to curl back in a ball. Like, just hold space for yourself. Extending grace to yourself. Like, where you give yourself space, more important. Okay, and so now I kind of wrote like a little paragraph when I was going to get this video out sooner, and this is essentially what I wrote. One of the main takeaways that was a common theme was authenticity. Tabitha Brown mentioned that the time that she would spend conforming in the environment around her, she wasn't able to reach her full potential. When you try to stand in, it's impossible for you to stand out. You and your whole self set you apart, and that will be the driving force that gets you where you need to be in the right rooms and spaces. Ultimately, just about every panelist mentioned the word or sentiment, and I just think it's important to highlight and share that if we are too busy being someone else and trying to mimic the actions of others, we miss out on the unique and deliberate way that God wants to see us. So that is just, those last two are like my true words, my understanding, and my main takeaway from the event. And I'm just going to say that last one more time. Ultimately, just about every panelist mentioned this word or sentiment of authenticity, and I think it's important to highlight and share that if we are too busy being someone else and trying to mimic the action of others, we miss out on the unique and deliberate way that God wants to see us. And what I mean by that as a creative is, especially we see this in content and trend, and how trend is content is easily mimicked and stolen by our white peers or just by other people. It is important to just do you. It is important to show up as yourself, knowing that we will not always get the credit immediately or deserve, but your audience will show up. It will come if you build it, and trust in that. When we are trying to mimic the styles of other creatives, it's one thing to do it to learn as we're trying to start off, but you gotta find your own voice. You gotta find your own style, and you gotta find what works for you, because once you do, it'll shine through. Something will click and it'll be like, ah, this is for you. I can personally say I don't think I've necessarily honed that yet, but I'm really striving towards it. I'm really working towards that, because it's no better feeling than just being authentically you and showing up as you are, and not feeling like, just not feeling like something is off. And I think there's something amazing that happens when you're able to do that. You know, I think you just win when you're yourself, and that looks different for everybody. Now, the best part is, and this is one of my takeaways, was the fact that with every celebrity that I was able to like stumble across or meet, I went ahead and asked them a question. One thing I learned is, because I've been blessed enough to meet a good amount of celebrities, and you know, you're so excited in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, can I get a photo? But actually, I think I saw something, Brie Larson, she said that she'd rather like have a conversation and make it more meaningful than just take a photo with somebody and then that, you know, moment be gone. And I was like, oh, she right. Like, yeah, I want to experience. So essentially, the creator session that we went to, it was Lexi Underwood was on the panel, and after, I was like, you know what, let me see if I could just chat with her for a second. So I waited off to the side, and I was just like, hi, like I was like, can I, you know, ask you a question? She was like, yeah. And actually, I got a little bit of the footage, so I'm gonna let it speak for itself. Are you recording already? That was just really cool, really great. She was so sweet. I ended up running into her again because this lady was like talking about, oh, I'm a publicist and I just gotta make sure. Girl, I don't even know what you're talking about. So when I ran into her again, I was just like, she was saying that I couldn't post this. Like, can I post this? Like, she was like, girl, yeah, because I had told her, like, girl, I'm from the DMV too. Like, she was like, yeah, you from the DMV, I'm gonna support you. And I just think she was so down to earth. She was so sweet. And you guys will see the rest of that clip at another date. So make sure that you follow me, Brooklyn Simone, on Instagram. And I was able to meet Kendrick from Insecure. And he was funny. I didn't even ask him no question. My friend pointed him. I was like, oh, you want to get a picture with him or whatever? And I was like, you know what, yeah, let me try. He was just so freaking funny, y'all. The lighting was bad, but I'm trying to not waste his time, so I was like, oh no, let me just get this photo. He was like, nah, you kind of got me effed up, like the lighting is bad. So he turned around, and I was like, well, if he about to do all that, I need you to do it like Chris Brown. And we just kind of bust out and shared in that laugh, and so that was really cool. Jerry Johnson from Harlem was there for the last session, which was Megan Good's session, and I was walking out and I ended up seeing her, and I was like, okay, maybe I could just, you know, talk to her or whatever. So I was just like, hey girl, what's going on? And she was like, hey, and she was like, you're so pretty. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually awkward and that makes me uncomfortable. Like, I mean, I was just like, I don't know what to do with that. Like, anybody who knows, like, I don't know what to do with compliments, but I was just like, thank you. She was like, no, like, we like awkward. I was just like, it's a vibe. Like, okay, we love it here. She was so nice, and I was like, girl, so when is season 2 coming out? She was like, look, we already finished. It's in Amazon's hands now. So Amazon, let's go. Let's go. Come on. Really dope conversation with her. Then the first person that I saw, I was, y'all, quick story. I know this video is long, but quick story. Y'all see the book, More Than Enough, Elaine Wilter-Roth. When she was doing her book release, it was 2019. I was not back in my solo dolo bag yet of moving and going out, and I was not on my year yes vibe yet. So ultimately I decided not to go to her book signing, and also I was so confused about book signings. Was I supposed to already have the book? But I found out that you get the book there. I was so annoyed. I missed it. Something just told me that I needed to go. I have never heard of her before that, but I seen it and I was like, oh, I should go. Somebody that I follow ended up going, and I was just like, I should have been there, but whatever. So to have read the book, and I was walking outside, just seeing what the vibes were, I turned to my right, y'all. Elaine Wilter-Roth is standing right there. I said, God, this is only you. This is only you. So I turned around, and it's so funny because you know these people, but they don't know you. And I was like, Elaine? And she like looked at me, and then I just walked over, and I was just like, hi, I'm Brooklyn. I like to go by Brooklyn. And I was just like, you know, your book changed my life, and which it really did. I read it, I have this thing of knowing when to read books, and they just come at such a pivotal time in my life, and it came in a time when I was changing careers, like I was dealing with PTSD and a whole bunch of stuff. And so I was like, your book was life-changing for me, and I loved it, and I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. I think it's important to give people their flowers while they're here. I said, thank you for sharing your story, and I said, congrats on your beautiful baby. And I was like, can we take a photo? She was like, yes. Yeah, that is my home girl. We were gonna meet again. But love her dearly, and I'm also doing her masterclass, which is chef's kiss. I don't wanna know what the vibes is. Then I waited like an hour and 30 minutes after the event was over, because once I saw Elaine, I ended up peeping where the celebs was coming out. So just know that. So once I saw Elaine, I was like, okay, cool. That's how I was catching people. I call it Tracy Ellis Ross too, but she is funny. She reminded me of one of my aunts, y'all. She's like this whimsical, like, girl, like she's funny. But anyway, so I waited. I was like, oh, I want to see Megan Good. So I saw her when she was coming into the event, but I was like, hey Megan. She was like, hey. So I wanted to see her when she was coming out, and essentially I didn't get video of this. I just got a few messed up blurry photos with her, but when she came out, ended up talking to these two girls, we just kind of bonded. We all wanted to see Megan. Cool. So we're waiting for Megan, and she finally comes out. Megan, can we take a photo? So Megan was like, yeah. So we go and take a photo, and before she goes in for my photo, I was like, wait, but no, I took my photos with her. I was like, wait, but I have a quick question. I was just like, I feel like they didn't ask for good questions during her panel, but I asked her a question. Essentially, we know that she's a believer, so I just asked her, you know, how do you not conform in this industry, essentially? And I don't know what it was, but I felt like she was very passionate about just responding. She literally took the moment, y'all. She took my hand. She held my hand, softest hand I've ever held, y'all. She held my hand the entire time, made eye contact with me the entire time, was locked in, and she was just like, we're called not to conform. That's first and foremost. So don't conform. And she was essentially just letting me know that, you know, my walk is just going to look different than other Christians, than what anybody has to say, and I can't listen to what people have to say at all. And so it was just such a good, I'm not even about to share it all because it was just for me, you feel me? But it was just so amazing. She took the time to truly answer my question, and I appreciate that. She's just such a sweet person, and I'm so thankful, and I just can't wait to see more of her. And I would love another opportunity to really interview her, because I think she could really share some gems about her journey and her experience, and then just how to navigate the industry as a believer and what she's learned in her journey. I think it could be really amazing. But yeah, it was great. And I say all that to say, y'all, from talking to people, it really showed me that I want to amplify other people's stories and journey. And I felt like every question I asked, every interaction I had was so impactful and meaningful, and I felt like I asked good questions. And so I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna share with y'all what I'm gonna do, but it's coming. So y'all just get ready. Put the seatbelt on. That's not really a seatbelt sound, but because more is coming. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope to see you guys at next year's Culturecon, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what you think. Are you coming next year? Because I'm gonna be there.